Welcome to Integrity Inspire, your daily dose of inspiration and motivation, featuring the bright and talented members of the Integrity Marketing Group family. Now, here's your host, Integrity co-founder and CEO, Bryan W. Adams.
Welcome, everybody, to the Inspire podcast. We're so excited that you're here with us. It's day 2 of the Integrity Idol Finals Week. Yesterday, we were blessed to hear from Elder Care's Candy Golden, and today we get to hear from Mr. Patrick Cash from the Integrity Shared Services team in Atlanta. Patrick is an enterprise system administrator for Integrity, and if you're working on your computer, if you're doing something with Outlook or Microsoft 360 or Ring Central or anything that you're doing with technology here at Integrity, chances are you have Patrick and some of the other great IT team members to thank for that. They're the ones who, the things that we take for granted every day, of just logging on, being able to work remote when we were going through that stage, they're the ones who have made that possible. And Patrick honestly is one of the most musically talented people that I have ever come across and ever had the pleasure of getting to know. And so congratulations on making the Integrity Idol Finals, and welcome back to the Inspire podcast, Mr. Patrick Cash Money. Thank you for being here, brother. It was
all right, Bryan.
Hearing you jam. I think we ought to just have a whole podcast of you just jamming and singing, man. That would be, I think that'd be a blast.
I would have my work cut out for me. I would have to work that material up. But thank you. It's great to be back. I'm just so excited to be here. And again, I want to thank everybody for all the support, all the kind words from really just all the people that have reached out to me over the last, few days, couple of weeks. It's been nothing short of incredible. So I'm blown away, completely humbled by this whole experience.
Dude, it's been amazing to watch this experience. We really, Mike White and I were just talking about this a minute ago. You never know how talented people are. And just, listen, we all do a great job at work. We do a lot of fun stuff together. But we also have outside interests and hobbies and things that we're really passionate about outside of work. And you don't really know, those type of things until you just spend time with people, right? And spending time with people on this Integrity Inspire podcast, man, we've gotten to know people in such a deep way, in a lot of different ways. I know whenever we were kind of getting started with this, Kendall started singing. I literally sat outside. I mean, we've sat 20 feet away from each other for years. And I didn't realize, I knew she could sing, but I didn't know she could sing, if you know what I'm talking about. I mean, she has just an amazing voice. And then Mike was just talking about the fact that he's worked with you for 7 or 8 years and never realized how talented outside of work you are. We all know how talented you are inside of work, but and that's been common just throughout. I mean, just getting to hear these stories. And then the response of this, I mean, man, Patrick, you had like 5,000 votes on this. I mean, we've got about 1,000 employees, and your friends and family and charity and everybody else, man, people showed up to vote for you in a huge, huge way, which had to be just so much fun and really humbling as well at the same time.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Bryan. It's, as I've just journeyed through life like anybody else, I've accrued friends and acquaintances and just met people and tried to be, a positive guy and that sort of thing. But for that kind of support group to come out and show such a force, especially in the initial round of voting, I'm not worthy. I'm just a guy that happens to know how to do a couple of things, and it's been really, really humbling, like you said, and just incredible.
I got to tell you a funny story. So one of our board members called me one day, and he said, "Hey, I want to talk to you about this Integrity Idol thing." honestly, we just kind of made this up. We're giving away a lot of cash, right? I mean, we're giving away a lot of cash. And so I was kind of like, okay, what do you want to talk to me about? And he said, hey, I'm watching how talented some of these people are. And I just watched this guy named Patrick Cash. And what does he do for us? And so I started telling him. And honestly, Patrick, just be honest, bro. Like, I don't really know what you do for us. I don't know exactly what enterprise system administrator is. So I was trying to fumble through that. And maybe you should tell us in your words. But I was telling him about it, and he was like, what are we going to do when this guy gets discovered and leaves us? Because this guy's so good, he's probably got a career in music. And I was like, God bless him. If this is what opens that door, God bless him. I hope that opens that door for him. Nobody wants to lose you, Patrick, but man, you got some talent, brother. And so even if one of our board members in New York City who's never met you literally called me and was like, hey, tell me about this guy and what's going to happen if he leaves us. It was pretty powerful, man.
I've heard that from a couple of different folks. What are you doing around here? Like, you should be, blah, blah, blah. And I would like to think that maybe it would have happened already if it was ever going to. I went to school for music, and I tried hard. I did some regional touring and that sort of thing, but it became pretty clear to me that I needed something that was going to be more stable than, at least in the capacity I was operating in at that time, which was not much. Life on the road, it didn't really hold the allure that a career in IT did, and I'm just grateful to be here. So, it would take an awful lot to get me to go anywhere.
Well, we hope. Listen, we want to support you in all that you do, no matter what. But we hope you stick around for selfish reasons. Tell us what an enterprise system administrator is for Integrity, and what all you do and support.
So enterprise system administrator is pretty much a catch-all, if you will, for IT responsibility. You alluded to Office 365. That's my big thing in the IT department. We've got a great team of guys, and we kind of share the responsibilities when we partner with a new business unit. I am the primary guy that goes out and does the discovery of the new business unit's email system. Make sure that all of their infrastructure is replicated, and then we migrate them over, usually on like a Saturday morning, to our email platform. And we provide support after the fact through our help desk, which is another thing in which I'm heavily involved. We've got all these resources that our users use day to day, and occasionally people just have questions. And that's something that I've always been, I guess, blessed in that regard, in that I genuinely like helping people and I like solving issues. And so that's, maybe I'm kind of a solutions guy. It would be a good way to say it. If there's a computer problem, anything infrastructure, technology related, I'm here to make sure that our users are well taken care of, and that, everybody can do their jobs without having to sit around and worry about their computers not working correctly.
Well, on behalf of all of us, we appreciate that. And we appreciate all you and Matt Williams and Hersh Singala and Steve Lundstrom and Daniel, and I could just keep going, Ray and my man Dave Brown. There's a bunch of incredible people, and I'm leaving a bunch of them out, but there's a bunch of amazing people that you guys have in y'all's team that just make our lives easier, and I think on behalf of everybody, we should thank you more. And I can tell you, I missed you guys a lot while we were working remote. That was it was for sure, but glad to be back for sure.
Yeah, we missed you too. We're very happy to be back in the office.
That's when we're all better together. That's for sure. Well, hey, listen, we've got a lot to cover here today, and I'm just so jacked up about this. Especially hearing you play early on, but we would love to hear you sing again, man. One, you're an incredibly talented musician and strumming on the guitar, and your other. How many instruments do you really play? Honestly, like you play like 17 instruments or something in that video, but how many instruments do you think you really play?
So my main thing is drums. I'm actually primarily a drummer, but I started playing guitar when I was 14. My parents got me an acoustic electric to play on, and it just spiraled out of control very quickly from there. I got an electric guitar within like 3 weeks, saving up my allowance. I bought a drum set on eBay, and when I realized how much of a brain melt that was to try and make all four of your limbs do different things at the same time, I just dived into that with a passion. So anything guitar or drums, it's got my name written all over it. And playing with, talented musicians throughout the years have just helped me grow and continue that journey. And I don't know an exact count, but, in college, I had a class called instrumental training, and they threw just about every orchestral instrument at us and kind of gave us a general working knowledge of how to do it all. And it's something that has always come to me, fairly easily. I guess having an ear and being willing to listen makes a big difference. But I don't want to brag, but generally speaking, if I pick it up within a few minutes, I can at least bang out a couple of notes, and if I really put my mind to it, I can, usually not to the level of Dave Thomas on the cornet now. Yeah, that was awesome, but I can. I enjoyed watching that, but and Richard Matheson too. I mean, he runs circles around me on guitar, but I can do a decent performance. Let's say that. Jack of many trades, master of none.
Man, sometimes God blesses people in such ways that's not even fair for us. Those guys like me and Mike White and others, we step back and go, man, I wish I could do that. And then you can just pick up anything. I think you could probably pick up this coffee cup and make music with it right now. But listen, we want to hear something, man. We want to hear something from you today. What's your first song, man?
So I'm going to do, in keeping with the kind of sort of soul basis that I've gone so far, I'm going to do Thinking Out Loud by Ed Sheeran. And I'm going to try and do it justice. He's a great singer. Hopefully I can sort of live up to his level. When your legs don't work like they used to before, and I can't sweep you off of your feet, will your mouth still remember the taste of my love? Will your eyes still smile from your cheeks? Darling, I will be loving you till we're 70. Maybe my heart is still falling hard at 23. I'm thinking about how people fall in love in mysterious ways. Maybe just a touch of a hand. Me, I fall in love with you every single day. I just wanna tell you I am. So honey, now take me into your loving arms. Kiss me under the light of 1,000 stars. Place your head on my beating heart. We're singing out loud. Maybe we found love right where we are.
Oh my gosh, man, that was Ed Sheeran is worried about his job right now. Oh my gosh, that was amazing, man. Thank you so much for that. I don't even know what you're going to do to follow that up. That was man, it's just so much fun, I think, to hear from you and to be blessed by that, but also just to learn a little bit more about each other's backgrounds. And when I think it's so important, just like even like where the world is today, right? Is just like if everybody just took time to sit back and just get to know each other better, learn from each other more. Man, I think it would solve so many problems in the world. And I know we talked just a little bit about your background, what you do for integrity at the Integrity Shared Services Center. How did you get involved? How did you get into IT? How did that all start?
Well, when I was, I guess, of the age that my parents first went out and got us a personal computer, which was this, the traditional beige, soulless computer tower from back in the day. It was a Tandy, if I remember correctly. But, then, I was born in 1984, so I was fortunate in that the internet was just starting to come about when I was, in the late middle school, early high school, that sort of thing. And to be able to play video games back then, which of course was my main thing I wanted to do because I was in high school, what else was I going to do with my time? Heaven forbid I should study. But I wanted to be able to play video games. And back then, to be able to, create directories and enable, advanced graphics or all sorts of stuff like that, you had to be at least somewhat proficient in DOS, which was the old programming language, that originally, well, it still exists very much in Windows, the Windows that we use every day. But back then, that was all you got. So I had come kind of involved in that. And as I dove down the rabbit hole, learning to play these video games and do the setup required, I developed a passion for it. And I've always been kind of a tinkerer. My dad was a motorcycle mechanic when I was growing up. My parents were in the Air Force. They were crew chiefs on the A-10 Warthogs, those awesome old attack aircraft. And that just kind of, the way I was raised, it was something that has always been with me, and just being a little bit of a tinkerer and always having just an interest in learning the what and the why. So as I got good at these computers, I was still of the mindset, the music was my thing, which is why I went to school for it. But I majored in music business, so there was sort of a business minor to the classes that I was taking. But as it happened, Berry College, where I went, had a student work program, and every student was able to be employed. And as I was already involved so heavily with the music department, I figured it would be cool to try something different. And as I had a pretty good hand in technology at that point, I applied for the Berry Information Technology students. The BITS program was what they called it. And my manager, Matthew, was in there as well. So we've got a little bit of shared history there. One of the reasons he's so great at what he does, absolutely. But they paid for a couple of certifications for us to get our Microsoft A+, which is kind of the building block of being able to do this desktop support job that, I started with when I was out of college. And when I graduated, I went to look for jobs, and it just so happened that everywhere I applied, all of them counted that as basically, 3 or 4 years of experience. So it was just incredibly not really that difficult to find a job. I started working with a tax software company, and I was there for many years before I came to AIMC. But, the rest is history. We build as we go along, and here I am.
So, man, that is fascinating. So did you say Matt Williams was in that same program as well?
Yes, sir. One and the same. He went to Berry as well, and we were initially introduced to one another when we were both in school there. And, as we've kept in touch throughout the years, eventually it came to pass that AIMC had grown to such a point that they needed somebody to take over a full-time desktop support role because the gentleman that was doing it at the time, Darren, was becoming busier and busier with all of his development projects. And so they, Matt asked me if I would be interested, and the rest is history, as they say. So that I'm thankful for that opportunity, because otherwise I wouldn't be here with everyone today. And it's funny how life works like that.
Is Matt a musician as well?
I have it on good authority that he owns a guitar and amplifier. And I've been trying to ride herd on him a little bit to get him to practice. But
oh my gosh.
I don't know. I feel like he wouldn't claim it, but I think he has some latent talent.
Oh my gosh. So, man, listen, Matt Williams, for everybody on the call, Matt is one of the greatest people we have. Oh God, you mentioned Darren too. I mean, you just got so many great people in y'all's IT team there. Hersh Singala, our head of IT, take notes right now. Like, so Matt Williams, Patrick Cash, Sachin, like all these amazing people who are just musically talented. Whatever you do whenever you're screening for IT people, look for musical talent. And if it has it, just hire them. Don't worry about the rest of the process. We'll figure out the technology piece going forward, because these guys that have tech abilities and music talent are just phenomenal. And so Hersh, that is the new like hiring standard, I think, in the IT world for us and maybe other companies. But man, Patrick, that's amazing. With all of the different partners joining the Integrity platform these days, man, I know we're keeping you guys busy. We're adding, we added somebody new today. We're excited to announce Mark Mead joining the Integrity platform and Tri-State Financial. Mark's just an amazing guy. Been working on that deal for a long time. I think you've already probably worked on his project, and it's exciting to have Mark be announced today. And as you say, you're great at IT and technology, but as you said, music is your true passion, right? Tell us a little bit more about your musical background, how you got your start. I know you said you started playing the drums when you were 3 or so, but give us a little bit more background on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know that I could claim that I necessarily come from a musical family or anything. I mean, my dad was always singing constantly when I was growing up, and he still has this hilarious habit of whatever situation may happen out in the world, he just has a lyric readily at hand that fits the situations, and he'll belt it out. And he's actually a really good singer, but I don't know that I necessarily they didn't train me or anything. But we sang in the church choir when I was growing up, and my dad had a pretty extensive vinyl collection. And when I was maybe 7 or 8, we built a steel building in our backyard over a summer, and we just wore out the vinyl collection while we were up there. And we listened to the local radio stations riding around in the car, and it just always was something that spoke to me. So when it came time for me to do my first solo song in church, I want to say I did like The Little Drummer Boy or something, but by that time, somehow I had managed to develop this ability to hear the music in my head. And so, I sang through the first verse and did the first chorus, and then there was a musical interlude, but of course, I didn't have a backing track or an accompanist or anything. It was just me singing solo in this little drummer outfit that my mom had made me with like a laundry detergent tub or something. And so I'm hearing the music in my head, and people start clapping. And my parents will tell the story. They say I looked so annoyed and held my hand up like, hang on, it's not over yet. But of course, they couldn't hear the music that was going in my head. But I learned later that that's called audation, if I remember correctly. It's the ability to kind of hear that stuff in your head without an actual source of music. And I guess I'm incredibly blessed in that regard, because I've always been able to do that. So when it comes to, learning songs like these ones that I've gotten to do for the Idol competition, I'm able to go out, throughout the day, just kind of listening to it in my head and work them up and get familiar with the lyrics and that sort of thing. And that doesn't mean that I'm not still incredibly nervous. My hands are shaking right now, but I started singing in church, obviously joined the Spivey Hall Children's Choir. I want to say that was going into the 5th grade was when I started with them. And I sang with them all the way up through my senior year of high school. Through my junior year up to my senior year of high school, when I moved over to my high school's chorus. And, we rehearsed twice a week. Once I joined the touring portion of the choir, the Spivey Hall Tour Choir, we rehearsed twice a week in Spivey Hall, which is just an unbelievable room. I'm honestly spoiled for my entire life now, getting to rehearse there a couple times a week. But it was just an incredible long line of people that have put me in the right place at the right time and helped me along and encouraged me. And this being absolutely no exception to that. I mean, once again, the outpouring of people that have reached out and just had very kind things to say has just been incredible. But it's a journey, and I'm always learning, always still trying to add my mom says, feathers to my cap. But, you know, I add skills and new instruments and new songs to my repertoire. And I keep after it, I suppose. You know, the journey's never got to stay hungry.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. We got to stay hungry all the time, regardless of what we're doing. Now, you talked about Spivey Hall Children's Choir, and I believe that's the charity you're supporting. Tell us a little bit more about that and why you're passionate about it.
As I said, coming out of fourth grade, going into the fifth grade, I wanted to join the elementary school chorus, and I wasn't allowed to. I guess there was some sort of rule or something that the choral teacher had in at the time there, and somebody, it may have been the choral teacher, mentioned this Spivey Hall Children's Choir, and my parents, I guess, had figured out that I was able to do some musical stuff and wanted to nurture that. So I tried out and, sang my audition song. I don't even begin to recall what it was, but started singing with them and just was immediately captivated by this incredible program of teaching not only how to be a good musician, but, also like life lessons, how to be a good person. That was just everything that organization was about, lined up with kind of who I was becoming, as a youth. And so they taught all of the tenets of professional music performance, and also, like I said, these great life lessons, sight singing, ear training, which just helped me to build on the skills that I was already starting to acquire, singing in church choir and just listening to all the music that I possibly could. And we would do concerts seasonally. And, all the parents would come out and we got to perform in this amazing room. And it was, again, I'm just completely spoiled by that. Spivey Hall is incredible. But I had an opportunity to try out for and join the tour choir, which was the sort of, I guess, elite, if you would, up from among the children's choir. And we started we had the opportunity to do a number of choral tours overseas and domestically as well. We went to New York City and sang in some of the cathedrals there in New York City. We went to Norway and Sweden, did a 9 or 10 day tour across the Scandinavian peninsula, sightseeing all the while, but also singing. We spent a little time in residency with a composer whose work we were working on, and actually, got to meet with and work with him directly, which was just insane, frankly. I mean, being able to do that at that age was wild. And then we did a tour of England, which is kind of the same deal. We landed in Liverpool and progressed eastwards, sightseeing all the time, but singing in a lot of the major, 11th century, 14th century, all these just unbelievable cathedrals. And singing in each of them as we went along. It was just so many incredible experiences, and I'm just beyond blessed to have been able to be a part of that. And it was my hope that through this competition and through those, shared winnings, that we could provide that opportunity and bolster that organization that spoke to me just so much and help formulate who I am as a person today in such an impactful way.
Wow, that is amazing. Like, man, you and I've talked about this. I'm not a musical person at all, but I hear what you're saying about that perfect blend when it all kind of comes together and how it's amazing. And it's very similar to, I think, what we're working to achieve here at Integrity. And Mike White, one of my closest friends in the business, and the guy you get to work with every day, had said it one day really well. He said, I feel like we're all in a band and we're all getting to play our own instrument. And together we're good, but individually we're good, but together we're great, right? And we get you got one guy on the guitars just jamming, you got another guy singing, you got another guy playing the drums, and another guy playing the cowbell or something like me, but together we just make great music, and I love how we all support different causes and things, and I love especially how you're committed to supporting, not forgetting where you came from and supporting the Spivey Hall Children's Choir, and it sounds like just such a great cause. In fact, we've actually asked the director of the Spivey Hall Children's Choir to join us, Dr. Shaw, to join us here today. And just to say a few words. So, Dr. Shaw, welcome to the podcast. I know you've got to be incredibly proud of what Patrick's doing here and certainly supporting your organization as well.
I am absolutely thrilled with what he's accomplishing. I'm extremely proud of him. I always have been, and just delighted to learn more about what he's doing there at Integrity, because it just means so much when we see that our students succeed and love what they're doing.
Wow. Well, it sounds like you guys have, I mean, investing in the youth of today and being able to really train them on the gifts that God's given them, I think is just such an incredible thing. Tell us a little bit more about what you guys are doing there at the Spivey Hall, and some of us don't know that much about it. So I'd love to hear more about what you guys are doing and what your mission is, and then if you have any fun stories about Patrick here, well, we've got him.
The Spivey Hall Children's Choir is based in a beautiful concert hall on Clayton State University campus, and it's a place that cares so much about the community and the children of the community that we started our own children's choir 26 years ago. And I've been the director of it since then, and I also have an associate director. We have 3 choirs. And from the very first moment, even before I started my first choir, I said that I wanted a choir to be more about who they were as people than who they were as musicians. And the things that we try to instill in them are making good choices in life, choosing great people and great friends that will inspire you to do your best, really applying yourself to your studies. And we try to make them successful people for life, regardless of what their chosen field of endeavor is. We've served thousands of children, but the music is really what draws us together and builds this incredible sense of family. And we've performed all over the world. We've performed on National Public Radio. We've done several convention performances all over the country for the American Choral Directors Association, recorded 4 CDs. We've had quite an impact musically, but at the same time, what really matters to me is how we impact these young people for a lifetime. And it's just thrilling to see what Patrick has done with his life and what he's doing with you there at Integrity.
Well, you certainly had a huge impact. You and your team have had a huge impact on Patrick. You know, at Integrity, we've got about 1,000 employees, and Patrick has had just a big impact on all of us, and we couldn't do our job, and we actually serve, combined, we serve over 5 million Americans in their life and health today.
That's amazing.
We're the largest. It's humbling in a lot of ways. We're the largest distributor of life and health insurance products in the U.S. And we couldn't do our job if it weren't for people like Patrick. And
I'm sure.
And being able to give back. And I love the fact that he remembers where he came from. And he's just such a humble guy. So do you have any funny stories? You have any funny memories about
Yes, I do. After 26 years, certain choirs, certain events and days stick with us forever. And one of the trademarks of our choir is I have always had a West Highland White Terrier. I have always had a dog that comes to rehearsal and sits with the children and is sort of like the choir dog. And one day, and his name, the first dog, was named Patrick as well. And one day we were on the risers and we were rehearsing, and all of a sudden Patrick Cash says, "Uh-oh." And I said, "What?" And he came racing off the risers and goes around the back of the risers. And there is my dog face down in a box of Krispy Kreme donuts. Well, evidently, Patrick had bought a dozen donuts to support someone and brought the leftovers and just put them under the risers for safekeeping until a little bit later on. But my dog found them, and he was covered in sugar all over his entire face, and we are howling. And that has just been one of the things. Don't leave food out if you don't want a little white dog to eat it. And so Patrick is part of our story.
I love it.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, everybody loves Patrick, even your dog. Even your dog loves Patrick, which is. I bet if your dog could vote, they'd vote for Patrick as well.
That's right. Well, that was so many years ago that Patrick is no longer here, but Lily, the current dog, is delighted to vote for Patrick every single day.
Wow, that is
thank you, Lily.
Awesome. Well, make sure that you and all your friends and everybody at the Spivey Hall Choir will be voting for Patrick. Yeah. So part of this is Patrick is going to be getting some cash as part of this, regardless if he wins or not. I mean, just making the finals, he's guaranteed $1,000, and then your charity is also guaranteed to get $1,000 for that. What can you do with that? I mean, what will you guys be able to do with the money that we'll be giving you guys?
I am so excited. I'm almost in tears. We have students who want to come be a part of this choir who cannot afford to do it, who cannot afford the tuition. We are a choir that has one of the lowest tuitions around. There are choirs up north that have tuition of $1,000 a year, $1,500 a year. But even though our tuition is low, there are still students that are going to need assistance in being able to be a part of this. There are also students who need help with being able to travel. We don't have some magical group of people who pay for our students to travel. Each child earns their own money to go overseas and experience these things. And so all of those things help other students to have the kind of experiences that Patrick has had. And we are so honored that Integrity will be a part of the Spivey Hall legacy and what we are able to do for children in Atlanta.
Wow. Well, that is amazing, and we're proud to be part of it. We're honored to be part of it, and we hope that you guys keep it up and keep touching the future Patricks of this world. I mean, there's no telling what will happen because of that. And I love the fact that you focus on building great people first, and you and your team have obviously done a great job with Patrick. Patrick, I think about people who've touched me in my life, and especially in your childhood. And there's a lot of times not an opportunity to be able to tell them thank you, to be able to give back, to be able to just to reminisce with them like this. I know we're kind of coming up on the end of our time here, but is there anything you want to share with Dr. Shaw?
Yeah, absolutely. I reached out to Dr. Shaw on Facebook, and I wasn't sure how quickly she might be able to get back to me. So for her to be able to join us this morning is just frankly, it's a dream come true. As is this entire contest, and getting to kind of connect the dots with where I've come from, and even the recognition that I've achieved personally, it pales in comparison to getting to give this back in the capacity that I'm able to through Integrity. So for this entire Integrity Idol contest and the whole 9 yards, I just couldn't be more grateful. The words escape me because it's just amazing. So I'm so very thankful. Bryan, Dr. Shaw, Integrity, all of my team members, all of the people that have reached out, have voted and supported. It's just been really unbelievable. And I don't have anything else to say. It's just too great.
Wow. Well, Dr. Shaw, thank you for having such a big impact. In fact, we've got another guest on the call today. We've got Mike White, who's the CEO of AIMC and just one of the legends in the senior health insurance market that Patrick gets a chance to work with every day as well. And so I know Mike wanted to hop on and say a few words to congratulate you as well, Patrick.
Patrick, hey, buddy, I just want to tell you congratulations on making it to the Integrity Idol Finals. And, since joining AIMC back in 2013, you've been a rock star and instrumental in taking AIMC to a whole different level regarding IT. And I think what I've discovered is that you really are a rock star, even outside the insurance business. So keep it going, brother. There's a big push here today to vote for you. So let's keep rocking.
Much appreciated. It's an honor to work with you all day to day, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Ditto. Well, thank you again, Dr. Shaw. Thank you again, Mike, for joining us. I think without further ado, we've asked Patrick to sing another song. I mean, I think I could stay on here. If I didn't have some meetings coming up, I'd just stay on this as long as we could here. But Patrick, what's the next song you got for us? I think on behalf of Mike White, Dr. Shaw, and Lily, the puppy you owe some donuts to. I think we'd love to hear another. We'd love to hear another song, man.
I'm reaching back into the archives on this one. My wife, Jeannie, who lives with me here in Ackworth, I wanted to give her a shout out. She's been awesomely supportive through all this as well. But my parents were down on Sunday, and we were, spending a little time together. Now that some of the danger has passed from the coronavirus, they were comfortable coming down, and we finally got to get together for the first time in what seems like many months. And we were just kind of sitting around chatting, and she said, "Why don't you do I Just Can't Wait to Be King from The Lion King?" And I said, "You know what? That's actually a really killer idea." So I started messing around with it. I have no idea how it's going to go over. I hope you all enjoy it. But I worked it up and put it together real quickly. So without further ado. I'm gonna be a mighty king, so enemies beware. Well, I've never seen a king of beasts with quite so little hair. I'm gonna be the main event, like no king was before. I'm brushing up on looking down, working on my roar. Thus far a rather uninspiring thing. Oh, I just can't wait to be king. No one's saying do this. No one's saying be there. No one's saying stop that. No one's saying see. I'm free to run around all day. Free to do it all my way.
Oh my God, that was amazing. Dr. Shaw, was that not amazing? Oh my God.
He is amazing. I am so proud of him.
Oh my gosh. He just sang Simba's part and what is it, Nala? What was the other one's name?
Zazu, the hornbill.
Zazu.
Rowan,
Zazu.
Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean, voiced him, believe it or not.
Oh my gosh, man, that was amazing, bro. That was
thank you.
That was simply amazing. Well, we wish you luck. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've got some other talented people that are coming on here, and so I want to thank again Patrick Cash. I want to thank Dr. Shaw. I want to thank Mike White for joining us today. What a fun podcast today, man. This was just such a blessing. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thanks, everybody, again. God bless you all. We'll talk tomorrow. Take care.